Hi guys and welcome back here to the Dev Realm, and today we're gonna finish this. This is the last episode of our player carrying the box, and as you can see it's a little bit buggy because it keeps doing this loop, and this is now because we have to set up the logic of actually the physics of carrying the box and all that information. So at this point I'm just gonna add a comment saying carry. You kind of did everything you need to do on the animation sides. We just need to play on the character itself. All right, so let's go back here to the player. Let's go back to the carry animation, and here it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a delay here of 0.1, and then I'm going to copy this, paste it, and I will do that, right? Now let's see if this animation is still gonna be buggy after a while. So now I can carry the box, everything's perfect, and as you can see, good. And now I can kind of drop the box, so I can do eavesdropping, and I can wait, let's say 1 second. Let's see if this is gonna work properly. So you get the box, and then you drop the box. Perfect. Look at that, this is kind of working really nice. Now as you can see, we have this bug that the character, we need to prevent the movement. So what we're going to do is when we are interacting with this, we're going to stop movement immediately. And then we're going to disable input. I think we need to call outside, sorry. Here, disable input. Because I don't want the character to be doing this stuff here. Now, it's probably going to ask for the player controller, which I think we do have at some point. Let me double check. Well, do we need to disable that? Probably not. Let me have a look. So if I do that, yeah, we probably need to disable input. So let's do this. I didn't want to do that because this is a little bit of a ugly solution. But what is it? Event construct. We don't have here the event construct. Let's just call here the event construct or event begin play. Sorry. Now get controller, and we're gonna basically cast to the player controller, and there you go. Then we have it, right? Promotes to a variable, and then we have the player controller. Now I am going to go back to my, what is it here? Start carry the box, paste this, get, plug it that. And as you're probably going to notice, you're not going to be able to move, which is what we want. But now after this is finished, we need to be able to move, right? So we need to enable input. And then after a while, we just enable the input back to the player. And I will add like 1 second. I need to double check how long is the animation, but look. Now I can move. Man, it's a little bit more. Let's add like 1.5. Because I think there's a little bit of, it's nice to see the character, maybe a little bit more. 1.8. And here's where like we need to do fine tuning, you see? Now it's cool. 1.8 looks great. Now let's do the same for this. We're going to disable the movement. Everything is going to run as it should. Right? Then after, we enable the movement of the player. Perfect. Now let's see if this is working. Nice. Now I have the animation. Of course, the box needs to be attached, and my character animation is not great, but it's definitely something. And I can drop the box, and I go back to my state, which is perfect. Now we need to do actually the attaching of the box. So to attach the box is super simple. It's basically something that is not complicated. We do need to do a couple of steps first, but it's not complicated. So the first thing we need to do is we need to get a reference to the box. Right? And I always recommend you guys to make sure, I know this is gonna be valid, but is valid. I always do this check on your actors, because Unreal Engine sometimes, it's a game, it's very complex and lost references. But anyway, now we're gonna call a component called attached actor to component, right? And basically what we need here is the mesh, which is going to be the parent, and this is going to be the target, right? And we need to basically say, oh, where would you like to attach this box? You can create your own custom socket, as we call, but I'm just gonna open up the mesh, and I'm just gonna check if Unreal Engine hasn't updated their mannequin yet to make sure they still have this. Well, we don't have that. Basically, we have here hand grip here. So it's gonna copy this hand grip, right? Go back to the animation here, and I'm gonna change that to this socket. Then we look at here. You can also create your own socket if you want. I recommend you just check which one do we have that. But anyway, now we're gonna do snap to target, and I think this one we need to keep world because we don't necessarily care about snapping the box information there. Right, then the next thing we need to do is basically done. Now on the box itself, if you remember, we have the API start carrying. Let's just call that, and let's explain what does that method does and why did I do this, right? So on that method, API start carrying, if you don't have it, you can create your own. We're just basically saying cube, disable the simulation physics, set the collision to no collision, and mark yourself as used, so nobody else can use. So what we can do here, as you could see, is that imagine if you're playing this multiplayer, people wouldn't be able to carry a box. And there we go. So we have the box carry that. This is probably not the best place to carry, but it kind of works, right? Now, as you can see, it's attached forever. So let's try to improve this a little bit. So now this gives us a little bit, and here's where you guys have to try a little bit, like what's the best place to do this. But maybe we can use the pelvis right here, right? We can add the pelvis. And we can maybe try to add a socket. So we can try to add a socket here. And this socket we can be box or carrying. And then we can always do something like drag a little bit forward, right? And we're gonna go back to the character, what is it here? And let's see, right? I'm not gonna spend too much time on this, but this is where you guys have to basically improve that to make sure. But as you can see, it doesn't look that great. I think it doesn't look necessarily fantastic. So let me just get the hand grip or the carry. Maybe we can add this part of the spine, clavicle, upper arm, spine here. Well, we can maybe add this on the spine number 3. Let's see if this is gonna look best. Well, it doesn't look too bad, but it doesn't look great, right? So I'm just gonna carry on with the hand here for now, and then after I'll leave you guys to improve this. You just need to find a socket and then you keep iterating with the socket. But right now it's kind of doing what we want, which is good. We're attaching the box. And now what we can maybe try to do here is something that, let me go back to the mannequin here. We can try maybe to move this a little bit. I don't know, like if it's gonna look weird, you know. Let's see. Okay, it doesn't look great because I move it too much. So I'm just gonna maybe do something like that. You just need to play with it. Yeah, it looks a little bit better, to be honest. It doesn't look the best. It's a little bit buggy, but it's definitely something that we can improve. I would recommend you guys just to create another socket. But anyway, now what you can do here is just a little bit of fine tuning, right? For example, when you get the item, what you can actually do here is you attach this earlier on. So you first do the is picking up, and then do a delay, let's say of 1 second. And then what you're gonna do is that you picked up the box, right? Picked up the box right here, which is all we're looking for, and then we add another delay of, let's say, 0.8, which was the rest of the seconds. And now in this way, you give your character a little bit more time. You see? Much more nicer to pick up the box. As you can see, this is like a very nice animation. Very smooth, right? Very smooth. Then it's just the case you have to set up where you want to carry the box. But anyway, now the next step that I want to do is the dropping, which is something, you know, very simple as well. The dropping is even easier because you just need to detach the actor from whatever, you know, it's trying to do. So for example, we have here that is dropping, and it takes more or less 1 second. So what we can do is like 0.5, right? And then what we actually do here is that we get the box from that, and we do detach from actor. And what we can actually do here is keep road, and the same for everything. And then you do that, perfect. And then you get, don't forget to get the box as well again, and this, and then I think, sorry, we just need to add another delay here, like 0.5, because remember the whole animation was like 1 second. API stop carrying the box, and then you do that. Now let's see what happens. So if I get the box, perfect. I'm gonna bring the box to whatever. I still can jump. A little bit junky to jump though, and I can stop the box. I don't necessarily like how he's actually doing that. Let's see. Why is he actually doing this? Is detach from. Okay, so we need to give more time. So let's say 0.8, and here we wait 0.2, something like that. So let's see until we master this. Nice, look at that. And then he picked up and he dropped the box. Yeah, I think what we gotta do is carrying is dropping, and then after you just reset the is dropping here, just so we avoid any other issues like the animation. And that, guys, basically completes us this tutorial. What you can do here as well, if you want, when you start that, you get a character. Where is the character? The box, right? And I think you can do self, and you can do like a look at or set actor rotation, right? And we can do a look at function. Yes. So I think we can do current transform. Yeah, so what we can do here is get actor location, and then we get actor transform, plug it here, can break this stuff. We have the rotation, and I think this is, it may cause issues with the mesh. Let me have a look. No, we should have looked look at, maybe we can set actor location and rotation, so we can do rotation and the location instead, and I think that should be everything here. We're definitely bugged out. Let's check why. Check the location. I think is a little bit much. Yeah, the location is not great. We need to set the actor rotation. Set actor rotation. And then what I'm probably going to do here is, let me think about it. API, we can disable the movement. I'm gonna do this in a different way, in a more nicer way. So I'm gonna call this find look at rotation. That's what I wanted to do. Jesus. Self. As you can see, Unreal Engine has many ways of doing the same thing. Get actor, but none of them work, right? Right, so you get this here, plug it, and now we just need to get the box again. And I'm really sorry for stretching this tutorial, but I just wanted to explain how easy it is to actually start to polish this, you know. Because as you can see, you know, it's not a perfect feature. As you can see, the box animation is not the best. But you can come here, and you can definitely come and look at it. And you're like, wow, okay, that looks cool. And you just need to basically detach. Actually, you know what, let's do this, guys. We're already spending time here, so let's do this. So what I want to do here is, let's search for the carry, right, or walk. For animation here, let's search for a run. Run media item. So I already have this, and it's a little bit bugged, right? Not the best, but we can come back here and let's try again where is more or less the heap of the character. Spine 2. I think spine 3 is the best. So we're gonna add here a socket called carry box or something. Carry box. And remember, every time you add a socket, it needs to match. One thing we can actually do is to add a preview. So we can add the box, for example. And as I can see, this box is, the root motion is not the best. But I think that will do it for now. And let's see if here, go back to that. Press play. Okay. It's not too bad, but it's not where we want this to be either. So I'm just gonna go back here to the mannequin, and I'm gonna even out this here. It's gonna put this maybe on the spine number 2, and I'm gonna also remove the child and remove the selected asset. Yeah, I think it needs to be on spine number 4. Let's try it one more time. Try and error. Okay, that doesn't look too bad. We just need to mesh maybe a little bit to the right, maybe more to this side. Yeah, looks a little bit better. And then you can just put maybe a little bit up, just so it doesn't look too weird out. Aha, that looks actually quite cool. Of course, the running animation doesn't help because the arms are too high. But as you can see, that actually sells the effect quite well. And then it's just the case that you guys go and, you know, sort it out after, like where exactly you want to put this. But I think that looks quite cool. Once again, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this series. It was a quick tutorial. I was working on my game and I was like, you know, I'm gonna decide to do this. And I hope this helped you guys, you know, at least get the logic of how easy it is to work with animations in Unreal. See you in the next tutorial.